3, 2, 1. We are live. Welcome to day 2 of how to market and monetize your book expertise in 90 days. I'm Chris Trammell. Before we go any further, the one thing that I always say to do is to make sure that you give your guest an opportunity to come in. Let the bots let them know. So I'm going to go right now into my groups, and this is what I recommend that you do as well. You copy your link of where you are live, and it says right here that I'm live, right? So part of what I do is not only do I give you the information, I'm also going to teach you the implementation, and I'm going to copy this, copy link. I'm going to take it over to my other group, which is the Author Launchpad. That is the newest group I started specifically for authors that want to bring their books to life. They want to have more control of their revenue, more control of their business. I'm going to post it here. We are live, and get that started as well. Paste and post. Beautiful. All right. Exciting. And let me, I'm going to go post in LinkedIn. I want them to know, hey, this is happening, right? Like, post everywhere. Don't be afraid to pause, slow down, let your guests come on. I'm going to do this right now. So let's go to post day 2. Now, the thing I could have done is had this ready to go. Day 2 is live now. And I'm going to go ahead, hit return, copy, paste, boom, and post. There we go. Post is successful. All right, outstanding. I am so excited that we have this going on right now. Let's go ahead and put something into the chat. I'm also going to make sure that I'm watching the comments as well to make sure that no one gets left behind. Let's put up a heart, post that one. That's great. And now going back to Chris Trammell Coaching, where I am live, and I'm also going to put up a comment here. Beautiful heart, boom, sent. Great. Great. How exciting. I'm telling you, today is going to be such a great day, not only because what we're going to continue to cover, but because of the guests that I have coming in. So if you're going to watch this live, wonderful. Be here, ask questions. I'll be looking for the questions inside of the chat. And starting at about 12:25, 12:30 is when we are going to have one of my most favorite people in all the world, Catherine Dove, come on. She is one of my 2 business mentors, the other being Kelly Roach, an extraordinary, just awesome coach altogether. So today I've got Catherine coming in. But let me slow down because I get excited. Everybody gets excited when they go live because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to bring your energy, to bring your experience, to bring your education, to bring your expertise, and then to engage with your audience, right? Like, that's really what we're here to do. Is I'm here to engage with you about the possibility of your expertise living out in the world, life beyond book, right? I'm the AP guy, after publishing guy. There's a whole slew of people that are your BP individuals, and they're extraordinary. You got your editors, you got your book cover layout formatters and designers. You have your proofreaders. Like, there's so many people that are going to help you on this side of that journey. And I'm happy to do some of that work with you in the exploration of what's going to make a great book that's going to have life after you sell it, after you publish it, right? I'm interested in that life there. How do you take that genius, take that expertise, take that knowledge that you have and bring it to life. See, one of the things inside my program that I want you to be clear about inside of the Author Launchpad is this opportunity is about you bringing your best self forward. It is about you bringing your knowledge, your expertise, packaging it up in such a way that we're able to market it and scale it. I've created this program to have you break free of those gatekeepers that are like, yeah, we like it. No, we don't like it. Look, you've got to do the deep work. I talked about this yesterday. You've got to do the deep work that is required of you to have the integrity of putting out a really well-written grammar, I was about to say grammar proof, error proof, grammar correct document, book, piece of literature, you know, something that people are going to read and be like, that was a great read. That was a great use of my time. I want to implement that in my life. So you got to have the integrity to that. And that's the one thing when people talk about the bots and all these books, and you see, I made a book on Chat GPT and I've been selling it. I'm making $50,000 a month. You're probably thinking, oh my God, I don't make that much from my book on Chat GPT or just from my own sales. I know. I watch, I look, I listen, and it's only like the top 1% of all published authors. And there's so many out there. And now people are writing their books and they're starting to write them almost as a discard piece. They're saying, oh, it's your calling card. No, it's not just a calling card. Your nonfiction book is not just a business card. It is not just a glorified business card. It's not just a calling card. It's just not a one sheet on steroids about what you're about. You took time to write that book. You took energy. You have life experience. You went through some stuff. For some of you, writing those deep personal development books, those self-development books, those aren't transient. Those moments in your life when you were grinding it out and you were working, you were doing deep work, wondering, get me out of this, right? Like, dear God, dear source, dear whatever you're going to say, help me get through this, because on the other side, I promise. You made some promise, but you made that promise to yourself. And maybe you haven't been delivering on that promise that said the way you said you wanted to. So here's the opportunity. These next 5 days, I'm going to help you fulfill on that promise that you made to yourself when you started to write that book. You made a promise. I know you did. It was a quiet promise. You entrusted yourself to do something with it, not to back off from it, not to spend all those times with paper and pencil and eraser and rewrite and edit, just to discard it because you got doubtful about yourself, because you got challenged by circumstances, you got challenged by the outside world, or the imposter syndrome, started talking. Whatever it is, you created your book for a reason. You didn't create it for the reason of someone else telling you thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, I'll publish it. No, I won't publish it. In some ways, someone yesterday, the guest we're going to have on tomorrow, and I'm going to start to go through that guest roll call in just a second, said, so you're an advocate for independent publishing, for self-publishing. And I thought about it. I said, yes, but no. I'm not just an advocate, or I'm not only an advocate for self-publishing. I am an advocate for you getting behind your work and getting it out into the world. That's what I'm an advocate for. Now, if the process by which you do that is through self-publishing, working with an independent publishing house, then that's how you do it. That's how you get it out there. And here's the last, well, it's not the last part, but here's something I'm going to caveat, and you'll hear that this week. When I was at a recent writers conference, someone said, oh, you should really avoid self-publishing. You don't want to self-publish and not have it go somewhere because it'll look bad on you. And I thought, who in the heck would tell somebody, stay inside of your cocoon, stay inside of your silo, and hope someone else gives you permission, brings the key to set the prisoner free? What paradigm is that? Where we made it okay that your genius, your expertise, the difference you want to make requires the key from someone else to have you get it out in the world. Not on my watch. Not on my watch, and not on your watch. Not on your time, not on your clock that's kicking. No way. Kicking, ticking, you know what I'm saying. No, look, if you write something that's extraordinary, it shows that you have validation, you know, proof of product, proof of concept, proof of message. Build your own community. Get it out there. Put the elbow grease. Get the fingers working. Pick up the phone. We're going to talk about all of that this week. That's why I have these great experts coming on with me this week to show you not only is it possible, it is highly likely and probable when you follow the process and the steps that we're going to be sharing with you today. Today, tomorrow, yesterday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday with the bonus sessions. Okay? So, got excited. And let me check in here. Let me check in on our different groups. Okay, let's clear that. Let's see, we got that right there. That's great, thank you. My chat is going just fine. I see that guy right there. I'm gonna turn the volume down on him. Okay, and let me refresh this guy and go over here. So if I'm not looking at the camera, sometimes you might find me looking. I've got my notes right here. You should have your workbook printed out. Let's go ahead and talk about the workbook. If you don't have it right in front of you, let's get your workbook going, right? Okay. First things first. Package, launch, and scale. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here inside of these next 5 days. And really it's package, market, and scale. What I'm really recognizing, and this is part of the iteration of programs, is yes, we all want to launch something, but what launch really means is how are you marketing it? How are you getting it out into the ecosystem of your audience where they're going to be listening and say, yes, you're the person I've been looking for, right? So part of that package, market, scale theme is the action of launching. But some people are like, launch. And I realize, oh, what's really the listening that people, authors, nonfiction authors, independent authors are looking for, because you don't have your publishers really pushing behind you. You don't have the big houses pushing behind you. You might, if you get part of the big five, good on you for getting there. I hope you get there if you want to get there, right? But I know that you can get it out into the world. Hey, look, if 14-year-olds could go viral on TikTok, if old ladies can play drums and go viral on YouTube, if someone could show that they've rescued a dog from a stream and it gets 14,000 likes, you can get your best piece of information out of your book that touches people, moves people, has people left inspired. Extract that from your book and start posting on that. That will grow your audience. And next thing you know, you will forget about, oh, there's all these publishers, all these big houses. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I want you to get that. What I'm saying is waiting for someone else to give you permission, because as long as you wait for that permission, there's no revenue coming in. That's the problem. I want you to have revenue. You want to have revenue. You've invested money into your book, into proofreaders, into editors. So that's why we talk about the scale process in this program. Great. Next, on the third page, you will see that the program is written right there for you. What are the steps that we're going to take you to? During this live workshop, I've taken these best components, the core pillars of the components, and I said, okay, this is what we're going to work on. What is it that you need to package from your book? What's that core idea, the core thought, the core message that's going to make a difference? That's what we're going to look for here. Own your expertise. That was the thing that we talked about yesterday. You have an industry that your expertise fits into. Within that industry, you have an ideal audience that you are best for. So there's an industry called publishing books, or the book industry, writing books. Inside of that industry, my best group for me to work with are the nonfiction authors, the speakers, leadership, professional development, personal development, those persons that want to take their knowledge and be able to apply it, to integrate it, to have it be in people's lives. That's where this section comes from right here. So I invite you to look at what are the steps that we're going to be going through. And I'm going to show you today, we're going to go into what a revenue roadmap looks like, because just about 7 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, we're going to have Catherine Dev come on. And as my mentor, she's going to share with you how we've been working through this to create just a proven process that's going to help you grow. Absolutely. Okay, next part. Yesterday, I said, look, the opportunities are already inside your book. And what I wrote right here is performance is taking the ahas, putting them into action so that you could produce results. Every time you listen to a workshop, just like this, there's an aha that comes forward. You're like, oh yeah, you got to write it, you got to circle it down, and you got to say, how am I going to put that into action? Part of this workshop is I'm going to tell you exactly how to put it into action. Okay? Here's one. Take a main theme from your book. Main theme. Create a quote card that has your image and maybe the image of your book, one of the two, and it has a quote from your book. Create 5 of them. I'm asking you to do 1. 5 would be great. And start to cycle those through on your page, on your social media. And then you start inviting people. If you would like to work with me, because this is something that resonates with you, reach out, click below. My calendar link is in the bio below. That's what's going to have people start to have the experience of like, oh yeah, I want the services. I want the deep, intimate connection with this author that I'm not getting from the book. See, that's the difference. You bring the information. You have the inspiration. What's missing is that integration into their lives, the implementation into their lives. And who better to help people implement the information from your book into their lives than, you're right, you, the me that just said me. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Okay, next part. Number 3 here. This is the important part. By when are you going to take that action? By when are you going to take that action? You've got to give yourself a by when. Without putting by whens on your calendar, ideas sit there, they grow, and they die. Action and by whens get watered when you continue to take that action and have a buy when. Every time that I've worked with the best coaches who have moved me forward, they've given me buy wins. And look, this kid right here, ENFP, maybe hints of ADHD at times, much rather sell ice to Eskimos than be the guy who's landing planes on time at an airport. I need that type of structure. So like I said, when my awesome coaches say, okay, you need to get this done by next week, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna get it done. Action, aha, to action, by when. Then it's, how did I do? Review, refine, repeat, and re-engage with it. Don't just do it like it's automatic. Bring that energy back to it and get it out one more time, okay? Okay, woo, I am moving right here. What's our time right now? Okay, 12:22. So yesterday's session, again, one more time. How can you bring your book to life? This is your opportunity to bring that talk from your stage. And actually, it tends to go like this. From your book is a core theme. From that core theme is the talk that gets delivered on stage, because that talk also has your journey in it. It has your expertise in it, and then it has a call to action about the future you're creating with people. When you go to take this section right here, how are you going to bring your book to life? One of the first and easiest ways is to do what I'm doing, is to hold up your book. Whereas, speaking of holding up books, I'm going to jump ahead. I wasn't going to share this right now. Hold up your book and say, hey, you know what? On page, oh, well, chapter 1, first page. Like, hold it up and say, one of the messages that I wrote in my book that I really think makes a difference to people is this message. I'd love your thoughts about it. Click on the link below. That's your post. That's it. That's what gets the ball rolling. You can do that. Now, today is about what next. The what next that I'm going to share with you now is why I'm going to be bringing Catherine Dove on in just a few minutes. Allow me to minimize this. And Catherine has, oh, I didn't see she's entered. Great. I'm going to let Catherine, my apologies. Oh my gosh, I had you in the other room. There we go. I feel bad, Catherine. How long did I have you waiting there? Hopefully not too long. Let me see. Let's see. Perfect. Well, while you're coming in, there you go. Did I have you waiting too long?
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay, great. Great. Catherine, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to give them a sneak peek at something, because this is part of your red carpet that we've worked on together.
Okay.
And for those of you that were watching, I said I was going to share what comes after you make an invitation. And this is where Catherine has done a beautiful job working with me and working so many more, that what you really want to have is this document right here. You want to be able to have your own revenue roadmap that once people say, yes, I would love to work with you. I'd love to learn more about what's inside of your book. I'd love to have you turn that talk that you gave from that stage and implement it into my life, because people are saying, I want that. So for me, when you work with me, I help you create the author launchpad revenue for authors and speakers. Catherine, when she comes on, she helps it for coaches and consultants. Mm-hmm. And so, Catherine, now I know I've jumped ahead for a second, and I will back up. You know, I get excited, but ladies and gentlemen, when you have your proven process. It is like baking cookies. When you go to the mall, you smell the wafting of the cookies. It's reliable. You know, Famous Amos is going to taste this way. Mrs. Fields going to taste this way. Catherine, what's your cheat cookie? What's the cookie you can't get
It
enough?
was Famous Amos.
Right?
Yeah.
See? Because they are reliable for producing a specific type of result cookie each and every time. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I have one of the best, well, one of my besties. So that's why the word besties comes out first, but truly one of the just best thinkers on how to bring your expertise and move it so that your audience is ready for it and to create that revenue roadmap. And that is Catherine Dove of the High Ticket Scale System. And Catherine, it is a pleasure to have you here today. How about this, Catherine? How did you get started in this online world, and how did you get started in this online world? Let's jump into that for a second.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it. So how did I get started in this online world? Well, I was an expert in the financial services niche, and I was responsible for recruiting and training financial planners, stockbrokers, insurance agents on a specific line of products. And that required me to travel a lot and be on stages, speaking a lot. Like, and I was even doing a training program that was like a 3-day training program where I had to stand in heels for 3 days in a row for 8 hours. And I didn't want to wear heels anymore. And I didn't want to put lipstick on anymore because I had 2 toddlers at home, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I was on the road all the time. And so how I got involved in the online world is I just thought there's got to be a better way, instead of exchanging my time for hours and showing up and speaking and incurring all those expenses with traveling. What if I could just share my expertise online from home in my UGG slippers without having to put lipstick on, right? And so that was really intriguing to me. This was back in the day of AOL. Remember when you heard that?
You got mail.
You've got mail, and then you try to get online and it screech really loud. So that was back in the day when I registered my first domain name. And I just figured it out. This was before there were a lot of influencers and experts, you know, in the online marketing space that we're in, Chris. And so I just figured it out, how to get my expertise and put it online. So that is how and why I got started. Then I was able to be a pretend stay-at-home mom.
What is a pretend stay-at-home mom? Because there's a number of female authors and speakers that I know follow me. So what's the pretend stay-at-home mom?
Pretend stay-at-home mom. So I live in a neighborhood or a development where there's around 40 houses, and there's an elementary school here. And I was able to be there all because I was able to take my expertise and share it online. I didn't have to travel. And so I was able to be a volunteer at the kids' school, show up at all the games. I was able to walk my kids to the bus stop and meet the other true stay-at-home moms. And I just called myself a pretend stay-at-home mom, as they all thought I was a stay-at-home mom. They didn't realize I was actually generating, like, at some point, like close to $1 million a year working from home in my UGG. So that's what I mean by pretend stay-at-home mom. They all thought I was not working. They didn't notice when I would step away at the school to like jump online back in the day to answer emails on my BlackBerry. And then I would just come back and they thought I just had, you know, gone to the restroom or something. So they all thought I was a stay-at-home mom. So that's why I called myself I was pretending to be one.
Catherine, you use the word BlackBerry right now. I don't know when's the last time I heard that.
I know. That's how long ago this was. This was like 2010, I think, 2009, back in the day.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you and I meet during the pandemic, and at that time, this is how we get to contribute to our listeners and our authors today. You had a business then called the Experts Business Club. Fantastic. I was learning things about course creation. You had this powerful knowledge set for how to build courses on Kajabi and other platforms, but you ended up changing. So people could understand, even though you knew a lot, you did something that brought you to this place, which now is a new rocket for your success. What was that journey?
Yeah. So that journey, so the Experts Business Club was my way of trying to take everything I knew about building online businesses, because I had done it successfully and I had sold the prior, when I was a pretend stay-at-home mom, we grew that business and sold it in 2016. And then I had so much to offer and I knew so much about online businesses that I thought, well, let me create a membership where I can teach everybody everything. And that was a mistake. I want to serve. And so I'm like, well, they need to know about podcasts and online courses and memberships and email marketing and YouTube videos and Instagram and this and this and this, all the things. And that the reason I say that was a mistake is, well, it wasn't a mistake. I mean, I did help a lot of people move forward in their online business, but it was in all things to all people at a very low entry point, a very low price point, like $47 a month. That's typically what memberships, will charge. And it's very difficult to make a living on that, and then generate enough money to also be able to do paid ads or other advertising you want to do. And I also didn't feel like I was making a true impact on people. So I pivoted from trying to be all things to all people at a low price point. And during the pandemic and up until just now, to working with private clients to figure out what part of their expertise that they can offer help solve a painful problem for somebody. Because if you can solve a painful enough problem or help somebody with a really important transformation in their life or business, then you can charge high ticket. And it wasn't that I was greedy and necessarily want to charge high ticket, but I had studied enough and knew enough from my own purchases that when I pay high ticket, then I pay attention and I do the work and then I get results, right? And I want people to get results. And I also I don't like to do, no, I mean, I do like to train lots and lots and lots of people and help lots of people, but there are only so many hours in the day. And for me to really help people get results, I wanted to do more hand-holding and more making sure I literally got to work with and help those individuals. So when you do high ticket, you'll have less customers, but you can pay more attention to them. So that was how why I transitioned. High ticket, less people. I can provide more support and get people better results. So it was really difficult to narrow down to one thing that I wanted to help people with. And that's why I think your authors are like so far ahead of me, because they've already narrowed down what their one thing is. If they've written a book, they've done that heavy lifting already. So I hadn't done that. I hadn't written a book. So your folks are going to be much further ahead.
Awesome, Catherine. That's a perfect segue. What you speak about right there is iteration, because you and I have both discovered we had an industry, and within the industry, we then saw, oh no, I got to narrow it down. But just like you said, okay, you've got the authors, even inside of a book this big, people aren't going to do all the work. So even from that, it's still like, what's the narrowed down of all of this that someone's going to take on?
Oh, yeah,
right?
I see that. Yeah, absolutely.
And so this is where your mastery gets to come out. How do you help people continue to narrow down and trust that what they're narrowing down to isn't so narrow that they feel like, oh, I'm never going to find anybody who does this? How do you help people narrow down and trust, no, this is where you want to be? And I know that you talk about being solution-centric, so I'll let you choose the narrow down process or the solution-centric mindset.
So narrow down process or a solution-centric mindset.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't want to pick just one, so I'm going to combine the two. I think you narrow down by going online to figure out who is searching for your solution. Like they kind of go hand in hand. Like you have all of this knowledge, and in order to determine what you should include in your program, you want to do research online to see what solutions people are searching for. I just repeated myself, but like when any of us have a problem, I go to Google how to make potato soup, which I just did last night for my elderly neighbor, like how to this, how to that. So there are lots of tools you can use to free tools to figure out like, okay, I offer this solution. I want to offer this solution because I think it's pretty great and I've helped some people with it, but are there a lot of people searching for it? Like, is it just a one-off, this, the solution that I have, or is it something that a lot of people are looking for? So I would combine the two, narrow it down, and make sure people are searching for it. And a couple tips on how to narrow it down. It has to be something you're really passionate about, something that you have helped people get results with. So that, because who wants to be a fraud, right? Who wants to say,
Right.
hey, oh, I bought this $2,000 course on how to do such and such, so now I'm going to go teach it, but I've never done it myself, right? So you want to be passionate, you want to make sure you're not a fraud, that you've gotten people results, and then you also want to make sure that it's something that you're going to want to do for a while. It's something that you're not going to get tired of 6 months from now or a year from now, because you are going to put a lot of work into creating that program and then doing the marketing and the branding. So you want to make sure it's something that, I guess that circles back to the first one, that you're really passionate about.
All right. Let's make sure, because you just gave genius, as you do, genius insights on what actions to take. And so I want to make sure that you also know that I definitely gave you a spot inside of this workbook where people, as you're featured today as a guest, what are the 3 main ahas that you are starting to get as Catherine shares? She just talked about right now. What are you passionate about? What are you going to continue to work on? What are you happy to do? And what are you going to narrow down? What's that one thing you're going to distill down and say, this is it. This is the tip of the arrow that I'm going to put all my momentum behind, all my energy, all my excitement and enthusiasm, and lead with that. So I wanted to share that part, Catherine, because I know in a moment we'll go back up and we'll start to talk about revenue roadmaps.
Well, and again, I think your folks are so fortunate that have already written a book. Like most of the heavy lifting's done. All they have to do is like go to their book and see like, what's a problem that I solve in this book? And maybe it's just a couple chapters, or maybe it's an overarching theme in the entire book. I don't know, but they get to go to their book. Like for those of us that don't have a book, it's much more difficult because we have all these clients we've worked with that we've helped with, like we've helped them with this and with that and this and this and this and this, all these things, like, oh, what do I want to narrow down to? I feel like your authors have already done that because of the book that they have. So that should be a lot easier for them than it was for myself and for others.
Yes. Well, let's dive into a little bit of the personal development space. In the first half of today, I talked about it. And this is something that I know I've had to navigate, even though they have a book. And this one, we know Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is very much about the confidence we have about ourselves and trusting what we know. How do you work with your clients to trust what they have? And yes, you wrote a book. Now, do you trust that what you put into your book makes a difference? How do you work with that confidence set and having them be like, is this good, Catherine? And you're like, it's great. How do you do that?
How do I do that? Well, I think it goes back to something I mentioned earlier, is that, is this something you've already helped people get results with?
Mm.
this, what this is that you have, this expertise that you put in your book, like did it already help somebody else? Or actually, I failed to mention, it did it help you? Like when we have an expertise and we can solve a problem, sometimes it's a problem we solved for ourselves.
Yes.
Right. Many times. And then it's also a problem we solve for others, but there's a reason why they wrote the book. I'm guessing there's a reason. I mean, sure, there's the promise of money, which you find out quickly it's not a big money maker, which is why you need to create a program around your book that's more of a money maker. But I think that for someone to go through all of the hard work of publishing a book, they've got to passionately and really believe about something. And I think that I'm hoping that belief was based on truth, on results, right? So that's how I would help people to discover that, is just going back to, again, they have an expertise and they're able to solve a problem. Is that what you were looking for, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
Results breed
Results.
confidence. That's what I heard, Catherine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Results.
And that's why, like when I did my beta where I help people create high ticket group programs, I only had the confidence to do it because I had been doing it. I had done it for myself in the past, and I had helped one-on-one clients to do it. So I knew that I could get results. I was just going to be delivering my expertise in a group program instead of one-on-one.
Yes.
Which your authors, they're going to be delivering their expertise. They already did the book, but now they're creating a program. So it's the same expertise. It's just being downloaded and then delivered. It's delivered in a book with the pages like you were showing, or it's delivered in an online program with people to actually have access to the author that can help them.
That's so great. So, and because I know you, I'm gonna allow people to see how we are very parallel in what we do, but we diverge and collaborate extraordinarily well. As Catherine mentioned, she worked within an industry. She was on stage, she was speaking, she was flying to places. She's comfortable working with consultants in that corporate executive coach world.
Right.
My background was as a teacher, where I had to dive into books and I had to extract the material and create courses and curriculum. So I like diving into books. Catherine likes diving into the expertise of coaches and consultants. Both of us, when you go back far enough, though, we have these periods in our lives where the seed of our commitment to others was already being planted. For me, I was a coach at a young age. Catherine started as an entrepreneur, doing some babysitting, something way back when that she used to do. So what about that? Because part of the journey, why I asked Catherine, is people, I believe, they don't go far back enough in their journey to find the validation. They're looking for validation right here. And I tell them, no, go back far enough. It's actually been there the whole time waiting for you to take it out to the world. So when you go back to your entrepreneurial working in the basement, what were you doing back then that helps you be a great business coach now?
Oh, that's funny. You remember that story. I have to dig really deep for that one. So I lived in a small town in South Dakota. It's called Aberdeen. And the town was only 30,000, but we lived on the outskirts of town, and it was too far to walk or ride your bike. And remember, we talk about problems, like solving problems. And so we lived in a development where there were maybe 50 houses and a lot of kids. And so when it was summertime, the moms were going nuts because the kids couldn't just hop on their bike and ride to a park or to go to the swimming pool. There was nothing out there. It was kind of like out in the country, if you will. And so anyways, I knew there was a problem and the moms wanted the kids out of their hair. So I created something called the Kids Club. And we had an unfinished basement with cement, and I got a bunch of boxes of chalk and Kool-Aid, and I don't remember what else I got. But anyways, I invited all the kids to come over and hang out for the day in the basement, and I just entertained them and had games and stuff for them. And I charged each parent, I think, 10 cents per kid. or something. And anyways, before I knew it, my basement was full, and my mom was just going a little crazy with all those kids there in the house. But I I found a problem that people had, and I came up with a solution. So that was kind of the beginning of my entrepreneur days, is, problem solution. That's what people, if you find a painful problem, you can charge for it.
That's so great. And Catherine, thank you for illustrating that, because I know and why that matters on my end when I help people create the story that leads into why they're programmed. It shows that your whole life has been about, one, the business, two, supporting and championing others to have fun and create money and be great while doing it. And then you say, and if anybody would like to work with me, there's a registration link below, or there's a table in the back. And people are like, I want to work with her. Absolutely. I like the small town hero that grew up and made it big. I could see myself in her shoes someday.
That's great. Thank you. And whenever you solve one problem, there's always you're creating another problem, or you're discovering another problem. So for all of your authors that create their program that's going to generate them, my guess is way more money than their books ever have or will, with that program, that usually leads to something else. So as an example, all those moms, I was taking care of the kids during the day. So then I was able to upsell them, because then they wanted to go out for a date with their husband at nighttime. So who do you think they called? Me. So then next thing I knew, my evenings were booked as well. My point being that with an online program, you are really seen as an authority in your niche, especially probably more your authors, when they have their online program, are probably going to be seen as more of an authority than I, because I don't even have a book. So imagine having a book and an online program. That's like massive authority, right? But that online program is going to lead to other opportunities, speaking on stage, or somebody wanting to license their program for hundreds of people. So it's just like, it's like a stepping stone.
Yes. I'm going to capture that in our chat right there. That's really great. And Catherine, thank you for illustrating that it's a journey. It's an ongoing journey of get better through practice and beta. So one of the big things that when I created my roadmap, I'm just going to use this, and you could use me as an example.
Yep.
As much as I would like to take the credit, everybody, about my first step in phase 3 from beta to sales, I will tell you that this is where Catherine's expertise comes out. Catherine, why, with not only me, but with other customers you've had, is beta so important?
Oh, so a beta is really important for you, the author, for a number of reasons. Number one, let's just be honest here, cash money. I mean, I know that we all want to serve, but we have a living to make. We have families to support, right? Yes. And in my case, I rolled out my beta because I had 5 teenagers to take to Florida for a week. Anyways, so a beta is important for generating revenue, so that you then can use that to continue your marketing once you come out of beta, or help cover any costs, or maybe help cover the costs for joining you to help them make the beta, right? So if somebody joins you, they'll more than make back their money in their beta. So it's definitely a massive ROI. So a beta is important for money. Number 2, a beta is important for your dry run, if you will, or practice getting it out of here and out of your mouth and teaching it. Like, especially for authors that are used to writing, you might not be as comfortable teaching or speaking or training. Some of you may already be on stages, but not all of you. So a beta will kind of help you get through that dry run. Dry run's not a good word. I'm trying to think of another word, but
dress rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you might go down one path thinking you're going to go this way, and then you start teaching it as you're doing your dress rehearsal and people are looking at you like, that didn't really make sense to me, or they're like, oh my gosh, and or they start asking more questions. So then you're like, take a note like Chris is doing, so then you can go back and make it better. So a beta helps you just continue to refine it and make it better, right? Better and better and better. So it's better for your clients, but it's better for you because it gives you confidence too. It gives you confidence to see the results people are getting, see how they're resonating with what you're teaching. So then you have confidence to go out and proudly talk about your program and be excited about it, because people will hear that in your voice when you're talking about the program. So to summarize, it was, revenue, doing a dress rehearsal, and then also confidence.
Perfect, Catherine.
Oh, can I add a fourth one?
You absolutely may.
We've all heard the phrase, well, now I forgot the phrase I was going to say. What is the phrase where you rise to the occasion?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need a little prod in our rear end, like get going, get going, get going. And if you go out there and say, hey, I'm going to do a beta, and you collect people's money, and now, and I don't know how you're teaching it, Chris, but I'm teaching people like create the program as they go.
Right.
If people have given you money, then all of a sudden you have I would imagine your followers and people are true to their word. Like if they take money from somebody, now I need to deliver. So then you have to rise to the occasion where something you might have procrastinated on. If someone has money and now they're waiting for you, you're going to show up every week. You're going to do the work. You're going to get it done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It does. You rise to the occasion, you pull yourself into action. I was made, and this for everyone listening, like one of the things that we haven't said yet, but part of this beta process that I'm doing, this is going to be my third version of my author launchpad, the new cohort that I'm inviting people into, is you're never going to be perfect, because you as an individual are whole, perfect, and complete, but your program, your offering is always going to go through iterations. You got to get it out there.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, how many iterations did they have with their books? Hello. Right? I mean, it's the exact same thing that your authors are already set up for success because they've already been there, done that, Chris.
Yes. For those that remember that process, that is right. It is simply, the program is a live editing process, the same way you did your book, which you went through your edits. Beta is a live editing process. Catherine, I've never said it like that. That was beautiful. Thank you for giving me words that bridge it to how they hear it.
Yes. Build the plane,
okay.
or no, fly the plane while you're building it.
Absolutely. Fly the plane while you're building it. And that's what you're seeing. So let's see, how are we doing? I want to make sure we're at 12:54 right now. If you had to distill down, this is a tough question, Catherine. It's tough because there's so much. Okay. What are the three things that you're like, okay, I need to make sure that my clients walk away with these three things, because if they have these three things, they are going to be successful.
Boy,
I know. Or you can just say
I got it.
say,
hold on one second. I think, okay, so a problem. I got it. Okay. Number one, a problem that they can help people solve.
Okay.
Number two, a process they can take people through. And number three, provide support during that process. So a problem, a process, and support. But I'm going to go against you again, and I'm going to do four. I'm going to do four. So the fourth one would be an audience. They need an audience. They need a group of people that are looking to solve that problem.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So a problem, a process, support with that process, and an audience of people that they can, put the program in front of. Well, let's take that fourth one, because we know that that's the
That is why we pay all the dial turners and all the scalers, because they go out and find the audience and I'll pay you for Facebook ads. I'll pay you for this. I'll pay you for that, because they bring the audience to us. What are some of the things that you've learned to do to help build your audience?
Well, all those things that you just said, to pay people to run, paid traffic, or you can run it yourself. You could be of service in other people's Facebook groups. I imagine a lot of your authors also do speaking engagement. They can, speak from the stage. They probably can build their audience in that regard as well. But I think just the key thing is as long as you make sure there are people out there searching for that problem, there's going to be audiences hanging out all over that they'll be able to access.
Essentially, get out of your cocoon.
Yeah.
Go be out in the world, share with people. You can pay people to help you share. You could go to different events and organizations. Just get out there. And then there's all the actual structural things you just described as well. So, Catherine, for those that are better fit right now to work with you, because you're awesome, and I am an advocate. You're on this side of my screen. I'm pointing at you right now. Go work with Catherine. How can they find you? And, tell people your program and how they could find you, please. Whatever else you like.
Thank you. They can just go to scalehighticket.com.
Okay.
But truly, with Chris's program that you're rolling out, I'm hoping and assuming that you're going to invite me back. And so they'll be able to work with me in your program. So I think you probably would be better, to be honest, be better fit with helping them, since you understand the author's lifestyle, the author's challenges, the author's journey. So I think you might be better equipped to help them.
If you're an author and a speaker, I would love for you to stop this way and you see who I've got on speed dial, and I'll bring her in. If you are watching this on LinkedIn where the replay is being made and you are a coach, you're an expert, you're a consultant, you want to leave that corporate world and bring your knowledge and expertise out into a structure, Catherine is who you want to work with.
Thank you.
That's how we who's the better fit, Catherine, this way or this way? And trust me, if you are a LinkedIn professional ready to create that program, go with Catherine. But if you got a book, you'll work with both of us, or we'll figure it out. But trust us, we're going to get you to have that podium moment in your life that you've been prepared for.
Yes, we'll help you create that 9-step, a revenue roadmap, just like Chris's.
Yeah. And Catherine, what are the 3 phases of your revenue roadmap? What can people expect to go through? What are the names of your phases? Like for me, it's to package their expertise, it's to market their expertise, and then it's to scale that expertise. What are the phases they go through with you?
Yeah, so I have 3 phases as well, because Chris and I both follow the rule of 3, which I, in my research over the last couple of days, discovered that the rule of 3 is a literary device for writers. I don't know if you knew that or not, Chris.
I didn't know that.
I know. I was Googling away and it said rule of 3, a literary device for writers. So my rule of 3 for my high ticket scale system, my first phase is the foundation. So helping people get really clear on who they want to serve, what problem they want to solve, and what their messaging should be. And then my phase 2 is to create the program. So get it out of here and into your 9 steps, your 3 phases, 3 steps in each phase. And then what kind of support you're going to offer people as they go through that, and what your offer is. That's my phase 2 is for program. And then my phase 3 is the funnel. So a funnel that you put out in the world that you're marketing and letting people know, hey, I have this free piece of my program that you can have. Just opt in here with your email, and then they opt in, and now they're in your funnel, like an automated system to get people to join your program. So mine is foundation, program, and funnel. So mine are more nouns and yours are more verbs, which people can go either way. But I did find it fascinating that rule of 3 was a literary device for for writers. And can I share a couple more things, Chris?
Absolutely.
Can you pull your roadmap up? I just want people
Yes.
to see that again while we're talking about the rule of three, because you're going to see in Chris's roadmap, and then I have, what we help people with is to get your book or your expertise out of your head and into this 9-step process. This
Right.
is how you can help people over and over and over and over again. And you walk them through these 9 steps. But more importantly, this is what helps you attract people into your program that you've created about your book. Because if they have a problem, they're probably out there searching for information and, reading blogs and listening to podcasts and doing all the things. And then here you come along with your roadmap. And yours wouldn't, your clients, theirs wouldn't be called a revenue roadmap. It would be whatever their problem is, right? So then they come along and they say, hey, I have this 9-step process. So what I wanted to share on Chris's is he has phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So those are 3 phases. And then down each phase, he has 3 steps. So in package 1, there's 3 steps. Yes, in phase 1, which is package, he has 3 steps. In phase 2, which is market, he has 3 steps. And in phase 3 for scale, he has 3 steps. And so what I want to share with you, because I'm trying to get better at explaining, like, this is so powerful, but I never really understood why. And that's what I wanted to quickly share. So in my Google research, the rule of 3 is a powerful technique or principle required for writing or speaking. It states that any ideas, thoughts, events, characters, or sentences that are presented in 3s are more effective and memorable. And so that's why this revenue roadmap is so powerful. And a few more, if I may, Chris.
Yes.
The rule of 3 is a storytelling principle that suggests people better understand, that helps people better understand concepts, situation, and ideas in groups of 3. And Aristotle made the observation that people find it easiest to remember 3 things. And the rule of 3 started with his writing called The Rhetoric, which some of your authors are probably aware of. And then I have 2 more points, and then I want to give you some examples. The rule of 3 is a communication principle, arguing that 3 is the optimal number of examples, points, or characters to use for the most satisfying, impactful, and memorable results. And then the last one, the rule of 3 is simply the idea that delivering words or concepts in a batch of 3 makes a particular impact. So, So I think what you're doing is you're having people with this book with all those pages, and now we're helping them, right, to confine or define it or refine it into this rule of 3, which is a proven principle. And the last thing I want to share is that a lot of times when we've been talking about the rule of 3, Chris, I've always blanked out on examples, and you've always helped me. And I thought, oh no, I'm doing it by myself this time. So I'm going to read some to you real quick. Okay. The rule of 3. I want to prove my point, and I want to prove that Chris's revenue roadmap is the key for the authors. So life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Right? Friends, Romans, countrymen. Blood, sweat, and tears. Location, location, location. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Faith, hope, and charity. Mind, body, spirit. The good, the bad, the ugly. Lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels. Stop, look, and listen. Sex, lies, and videotape. Snap, crackle, pop. The 3 Musketeers, the 3 Pigs, the 3 Stooges, the 3 Wise Men, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. That's from Harry Potter. Luke, Leia, and Han Solo from Star Wars. Bella, Edward, and Jacob from the Twilight. And the Ghost of Christmas Past, the Ghost of Christmas Present, and the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come from A Christmas Carol.
Right, all 3.
Right. So your revenue roadmap is just following that framework and that proven technique that it's memorable, right? That people are going to remember your 3 phases or your 3 steps, and it's going to help communicate your proven process that you walk people through. So there you go. So I don't need you for my examples anymore, Chris. I'm kidding. We get tongue tied talking about the rule of 3, and I'm like, what were they again, Chris? And he would rattle them off for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see why she's so awesome to work with. I'm telling you, if you are a coach, you're a consultant, you're that corporate escapee, and you're like, hey, I need somebody who's going to help me package my knowledge, my expertise, and get it out to the world, please reach out to Catherine. I cannot tell you enough. And then when you're ready to write that book and you're like, okay, now I've got a book and I've got to monetize my book so that I could speak and I have programs from your book, then you come to me because I'm the guy that writes courses and curriculums and workshops and master classes for you. So this very powerful pairing right here with the rules of threes, there's two, but rules of threes, is what really we're committed to making the difference. We're having fun, but we really are committed that you get your experience, your expertise, and that enthusiasm to make a difference out in the world. Anything else, my friend Catherine, that you would like to share?
I think that's good. I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover and then some, now that everybody knows about my basement and my cement basement in South Dakota with chalk drawings all over it. So yeah, we're good.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap it up. I'm going to end the live stream right now. I cannot thank you enough for being here today. Tomorrow, for day 3, session 3 of this, I have Carrie Bayer coming in, who has been a marketer. He's a speaker. He has some outstanding books that he said not to slip about. And he's also a publisher as well. So he's going to be coming in to tell you the difference that it makes to go from book to bring it to life. And so, yeah, that'll be tomorrow. Catherine Dove, I cannot thank you enough. We'll wave bye to everybody, and let's go ahead and stop the live stream. Bye, all.